Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Chicago Fire Season 13 Episode 16 Recap. Pascal seeks revenge and comes undone. We all knew that Chief Dom Pascal, Dermot Mulroney, was going to be the focus of In the Rubble. We had 3 weeks to watch and rewatch the promo for the Chicago Fire episode, which saw the once measured firefighter lashing out and acting irrationally. The episode wasted no time setting Pascal's conflict up, either. In the Rubble opens with the revelation that Pascal tried to push for an investigation into the death of his wife, Monica, Katie Strickland. He demanded accountability, even though the car crash was a pretty clear instance of a tragic accident. This did not stop the chief, however. He decided the man who caused the crash should be punished, and he started acting more recklessly than ever before. Pascal put up a decent front when he came back from 2 weeks' leave. He told Firehouse 51 not to walk on eggshells around him and treat him normally, as nothing has changed. When he accompanies the team to a workplace accident, though, we witness proof this is not the case. Instead of sitting on the sidelines and assessing the situation like he usually does, Pascal decided to put himself directly in harm's way during the rescue. The chief successfully saved the man in danger, but he did so by putting his own life in harm's way. This led to some uncomfortable conversations being held back at 51. Kelly Severide, Taylor Kinney, and Stella Kidd, Miranda Ray Mayo, expressed some concerns, and others wondered aloud if Pascal has a death wish. The tension only escalated when Pascal heard back regarding the other drive involved in Monica's death. It turns out the man was not drunk or on drugs, and therefore not liable for any punishment. Pascal was livid. He freaked out in front of his firefighters, claiming his wife was a good driver and vowing to punish the driver who murdered his wife. The red flags could not be any bigger or any brighter. He forced the firefighters to return to the scene of Monica's death and look around for any new clues. It was an uncomfortable situation. Severide repeatedly stated that they did everything they could, and nothing was overlooked during the initial investigation. Once they got back to 51, Herman, David Eigenberg, took Severide and Kidd aside and suggested they may have to disobey orders if Pascal gets worse. Pascal's grief was so palpable that it started to rub off on other 51 members. Violet McCamey, Hanako Greensmith, was forced to confront the memories of Evan Hawkins, Jimmy Nicholas, and his untimely passing on the job. She started to write a letter to Sam Carver, Jake Lockett, following their intense conversation before he went on leave, hinting at the possibility of reconciliation down the line. Silver lining. Pascal's spiral finally came to a halt when Severide confronted him. He discovered the chief has been stalking one of the aforementioned drivers and demanded that he put an end to this behavior before his career is ruined. This seemed to shake some sense into the chief, who not only agreed to stop but approved a transfer to bring Jack Damon, Michael Bradway, back to 51. The episode ended with Monica's funeral and the uneasy feeling that Pascal is not through making extreme decisions in his grief. Fingers crossed he figures it out. Season 13, Episode 16 of Chicago Fire, titled Pascal Seeks Revenge and Comes Undone, was an emotional roller coaster filled with tension, redemption, and shocking twists. The episode opened with Firehouse 51 responding to a massive warehouse blaze on the city's south side. As the team geared up, Chief Bowden was briefed by paramedics that the fire had possible ties to a known arsonist, Pascal Moreau, a former firefighter with a dark past. Ever since his release from prison, Pascal had been lurking in the shadows, seeking revenge against those he blamed for his downfall. As flames consumed the structure, Severide and Kidd led the charge inside, where they encountered a frantic survivor who claimed to have seen someone pour accelerant moments before the explosion. The suspicion immediately fell on Pascal, whose history of arson made him the prime suspect, but there was no sign of him, at least not yet. Meanwhile, back at the firehouse, tensions flared when Detective Pryor from the Chicago PD arson unit showed up with unsettling news. Pascal had been spotted near the warehouse just hours before the fire. More disturbingly, they had surveillance footage of him watching Firehouse 51's previous call from a distance. "He's not just burning buildings, he's watching you," Pryor warned Bowden. At Molly's, Herman and Mouch debated Pascal's motives. Herman was convinced that Pascal was seeking revenge specifically against Severide, Bowden, and Kidd, the ones who had testified against him during his trial. Mouch, on the other hand, wasn't so sure. What if he's not after us? What if he's after someone we love? The chilling thought settled over the room like an unwelcome guest. Sure enough, Pascal wasn't done. The next day, 51 was called to a car explosion in a parking garage, and upon arrival, Severide's face paled. The car belonged to Stella Kidd. Though she was unharmed, having taken a different vehicle that morning, it was clear the explosion had been intentional. The message was loud and clear. Pascal was coming for them. Fueled by rage, Severide took matters into his own hands. Alongside Pryor, he traced Pascal's last known whereabouts to an abandoned loft in Pilsen. They found evidence of arson materials, blueprints of Firehouse 51, and most unsettling, a list of their names. "This isn't just revenge," Pryor murmured. "This is an execution plan." Back at the house, Violet and Brett were called out to an unusual medical emergency, a man suffering from severe burns in a back alley. Upon arrival, they found a barely conscious Pascal, his hands charred, his clothing burned away in patches. He had tried to set another fire but had been caught in his own flames. "I wanted them to feel what I felt," he rasped, his voice hollow. "But I lost control." Bowden, standing over him, met Pascal's ruined gaze. "Revenge doesn't heal wounds, Pascal, it just leaves more scars." As Pascal was loaded onto the ambulance, Severide and Kidd shared a long, heavy look. The danger had passed for now. But the scars Pascal left behind, both physical and emotional, would take much longer to heal. As the episode closed, Firehouse 51 gathered at Molly's, reflecting on the close call. Herman raised a glass, acknowledging that they had faced worse and survived. "To 51, he said solemnly, "and to never backing down." The screen faded to black, leaving fans with a sense of relief, but also a lingering unease. Pascal may have been stopped, but the darkness he brought had left its mark. And in Chicago, fire isn't the only thing that can burn. The latest episode of Chicago Fire, Season 13, Episode 16, titled Pascal Seeks Revenge and Comes Undone, delivered an intense, high-stakes drama that left fans on the edge of their seats. From raging fires to a brewing vendetta, this installment was packed with emotional weight and heart-pounding action. The episode kicks off with a chilling cold open. An abandoned warehouse in the middle of the night, engulfed in flames. Squad 3 and Truck 81 race to the scene, only to find that the fire was no accident. As they battle the inferno, Kelly Severide, Taylor Kinney, spots a peculiar set of scorch marks, a telltale sign of arson. The realization sends a ripple of tension through Firehouse 51. Enter Pascal Rocha, a former arson investigator with a grudge. He was once part of the CFD, but a corruption scandal led to his downfall, forcing him out of the department in disgrace. Pascal, played by an electrifying guest star performance, has been lurking in the shadows, seemingly orchestrating his long-awaited revenge against those he blames for his downfall. Chief Bowden, Eamon Walker, has been keeping an eye on him, but even he underestimates the depths of Pascal's obsession. Meanwhile, Stella Kidd, Miranda Ray Mayo, and Sam Carver, Jake Lockett, investigate the possibility of connected fires, leading them to an unsettling conclusion. Pascal has been targeting locations tied to Firehouse 51, setting a dangerous game in motion. When one of their own, Darren Ritter, Daniel Curé, is nearly caught in a backdraft due to a tampered ventilation system, it becomes personal.